So welcome to another lesson of Tools of the Trade. Change of scenery today in our kitchen here in McLean County. Before I move into the video itself, I do want to give a shout out to our Facebook instructors. I'm really enjoying the videos they've made on our Facebook page. Great job, ladies. For me today, I'm going to talk about 3 tools of the trade. One was I think we have what's called a liquid measuring cup. And then we have a lot of times these are used for solid measuring cups. So this comes in like a cup size, and I have a half cup, I have a third cup, and I have a fourth cup. So notice that, a fourth is actually the smallest measuring cup, then the third, then the half, and then the whole cup. So it's important to know your fractions when you're cooking. A lot of it just comes natural just through working with the tools. We also have some spoons, some measuring spoons. This one has a tablespoon is the big guy, the tablespoon, and then we have 1 teaspoon, we have a half a teaspoon, and then we have a 1/4 teaspoon. And I'm sure if I looked around, there's probably an 1/8 teaspoon around here somewhere. But a lot of times people at that point, they call it pinches and dashes. So if you've ever had grandmothers and stuff, when she's cooking biscuits or some of her recipes, you probably don't see a whole lot of these tools. A lot of times they cook so long that they've got pretty much everything down where they don't even need the tools of the trade anymore. It's all in their head, and their ability to just do it by hand without all those extra steps. So that's why grandmothers a lot of times are so quick with cooking, because they don't have to get all this stuff out. They just have it down. So today, just to kind of model some of these tools, I'm going to talk about my pancake recipe. Don and I love to cook pancakes, and I found a recipe off the internet and I printed it. But it's just really just got the ingredients. There are some special little tricks that other cooks use out there that kind of, send the pancakes to that next level. So again, I'm a fan of YouTube. My brother, I've seen him cook Thanksgiving dinner is just using YouTube. It's amazing. Again, I don't want to be a promoter of YouTube, but it seems to be a way to get information. So my recipe, just looking at it here, I believe it makes like 8 pancakes. And, LaDon and I usually won't eat 8 pancakes, so a lot of times I'll cut the recipe in half. So the ingredients right now would be like 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of white sugar, 1 1/4 cups of milk, 1 egg, and then 3 tablespoons of butter. And that reminds me, gotta get that out of the microwave. So the butter still needs to melt a little bit, so we'll continue on with some other things. So the first thing, I want to just make half the recipe. Again, taking half of stuff is a very important thing in a lot of trades. And when you're cooking, there's this balance. You can't make recipes too small because they start to lose their flavors. But this recipe here works out just fine by making 4 pancakes. So notice how it says 1 1/2 cups of flour. So what I need to do is cut the 1 cup in half, so that's going to be like a half a cup. I also like to use a sifter for some of this. So another little tool to have is a little sifter. It kind of takes out the chunks and makes things a little bit lighter and when you're making pancakes and stuff. So I'm going to put a half cup in here. So that takes care of the 1. That's just going to be a half. Instead of doing a half a 1½ cup, I'm going to do a half and then a quarter. So instead of filling this all the way up, I'm just going to fill it halfway up. That's going to be a quarter. So some general knowledge here of cooking. So there's my flour. I need 3½ tablespoons of baking powder. I don't see that here. It looks like my sous chef kind of let me down, and of course I'm the sous chef and the cooker here, the baker. So I need 3½ teaspoons of baking powder, but again I'm doing half a recipe. So instead of doing the 3, that's going to be 1½ teaspoons. So I find my 1 teaspoon, and you're supposed to kind of level that off. So there's my 1 teaspoon. Then I do have a half a teaspoon, so I get that, and again I level that off. And instead of doing a half a teaspoon, I have to do half of that. Can you keep up with all that? So that's actually going to be a quarter. So I get a 1/4 teaspoon. Okay. I need my recipe says a teaspoon of salt, but I'm doing half of that. You would think I would have rewritten this recipe by now, but I haven't. I just pull it out every time and just do everything in halves. So I need a half a teaspoon of salt. So I find the half teaspoon. And we get that. And then we have a tablespoon of sugar. So instead of doing a full tablespoon, I'm going to do half of a tablespoon. So again, here, I think 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon, but I like sugar, so sometimes I will just kind of, just do half of a tablespoon, and so I'll only fill the tablespoon halfway up. So I get all my dry ingredients together, and then I'm just going to sift those into the bowl. Get that out of the way. I need 1 1/4 cup of milk. So let's see, 1 would be like half. So, but I need a little bit more than a half basically, because a quarter is going to be like 1/8. Well, my measuring cup does not have 1/8, so right now I've got about 3/4, so I need to take off a little bit. So hold on a second. A little bit more. Now I would not be doing that at a restaurant, but at home you can get away with things like that. So we get there. There's a 1 egg, and again I don't like to throw things away, so I'm not going to do a half of an egg. I'm going to do a whole egg, and I like to whip the egg white. So another little tool we have is, it's nice to have a little mixer around, and I whipped the whites. So I actually separated the yolk and the egg, the whites into. I actually put the yolk already in there, and then I kind of whipped the egg whites. Now before I do that though, I do want to mix this up a little bit. And what else do I need though before I do that? I need some butter. My sous chef really let me down here. So I've got, it's supposed to be 3 tablespoons of butter, and I did 1½ tablespoons of butter. What's nice about butter is the markings are actually on the stick of butter. So if you do sticks of butter, it's pretty nice because you just find the markings on the butter and you can cut off the right amount of butter. So then we'd be mixing this up, and we'd be adding our egg whites into this, and we have our pancake batter. So you can kind of see the challenges of cooking sometimes, especially when you're baking. Ingredients need to be precise, but sometimes you'll get a recipe that makes too much or makes too little, and you have to kind of adapt to that. So I hope you enjoyed that presentation. Again, a shout out to my friends at Skill Train. We miss you and hope to see you all soon.